to finding calm in the chaos. I am Denise Sith, and this is my podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Saturday edition of Finding Calm in the Chaos. I'm Denise, and today is 200 episodes. I am so incredibly proud of myself. This has been a whirlwind. Things have changed. I was just telling Mr. Sith the other day, I need to take new business shots so that do headshots and kind of update the pictures and whatnot. But right now I'm going to do that in the time that I have and just keep recording and keep things going because it's really been so therapeutic for me. And so it's very heartwarming to me to have so many people reach out to the people who listen every day, every episode. There are those people. I appreciate you. Specifically, I know there are tons of people that listen, but specifically I want to thank Michelle and Shonda because they listen every time I have an episode, and it means everything to me. Your friendship and your devotion to the podcast. I appreciate you both. Mwah. Today, I kind of hinted at this on Wednesday, is going to be a little bit of a controversial episode. It's interesting because most recently, I was looking at, my platform will tell me, my podcasting platform will tell me what countries or where I'm listened to the most. And for that particular day or week, it usually changes weekly. But I just recently, I was like, wait, what? Just recently, there have been some countries popping up that were a little surprising, like Ukraine. Just saying. I don't know, and it wasn't just one person. I was like, wait, what? Why is that in the top 3? Usually it's America, UK, Canada, up in the top, and Australia. Those are my top 4. But holy cow, I was like, wow, that's mind-blowing to me. That's just crazy. Especially considering. So today, that being said, I know that tons of countries listen to the podcast itself. But there is something that I do want to talk that's kind of I feel elephant in America's room, that kind of thing. And that is just, I can't right now, just in general, in America, not probably for the reasons that you think, because I like to say that I'm pretty even keeled when it comes to how I feel. I'm very educated when it comes to politics and how the governments run around the world. I get how these world organizations hold people under their thumbs. I get that. There is a lot of things going on in the world today that I feel that Americans don't really grasp. And I say that not to be Americans are stupid, but I will go so bold, if I may, is to say that I don't believe that Americans are stupid, but I do believe that we are ignorant in a lot of things because we're lazy. Now, I'm not saying I'm lazy, but I have a lot of friends, and I see a lot of things on Facebook, and I'm reading stuff that's going back and forth and what's transpiring between conversations that are vile. The conversations are vile. Now, I will give you, everyone's always like, what's your stance, Denise? And I haven't really stated that I disagree or do whatever, but I will give you this stance. I am an American, true and true. Okay. I am not a fan of the Democratic or Republican parties. I consider myself more of a libertarian. I believe in constitutional rights. That is what our country was founded on. I believe in freedom of speech. I believe in the right to bear arms in this country. There's a reason behind that amendment. I don't want to hear about all of these things going on because I'll talk you till you're tired about mental health and all sorts of stuff and crime. What else do I believe in? I believe in freedom of a religion, as long as that religion doesn't make demands that amend other people's freedoms. I believe that all people should have the freedom to live as they wish, as long as it doesn't mean that someone else has to give up their freedoms or their beliefs for yours. That's kind of where I go. I think that's pretty fair. And I think if everybody lives like that, we would be in a much better place. Now, a lot of people have asked me as well who I voted for. And I will say that I voted for the person that is in office because I didn't agree with anyone else for my personal family and our choices. So yes, I voted for Trump. And if that means that you're one of those people who are like, oh my gosh, if you had anything to do with Trump, I don't want anything to do with you, blah, blah, blah. Then I welcome you to not have anything to do with me because that is your personal right. Even if we were friends prior and we had tons of things in common and never talked about politics, but now that you understand that I voted for somebody based on what was right for my family, you feel that I'm a negative or a bad person, then you must go. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I agree with that on both parties. Me, I'm not unfriending anybody. Unless, number one, you call people names that are ignorant. We'll talk about that in a little bit. There's a lot of name calling going on right now, and a lot of it applies to stuff. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you. I did not like our President Biden. I did not like Vice President Harris at all. I didn't vote for them, but I'll tell you this. He was my president for 4 years. That doesn't change anything. It doesn't mean I disagreed literally with 130,000%. I disagreed with everything he did with my wholehearted nature and my soul and fiber of my being. But I woke up every day and I operated like I live in America because it didn't change anything in my life outside of for 4 years. That's what you just had to deal with. That's part of the electoral process. That's the election process. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And I understand there's a lot of people in the world right now who are not fans of losing because they've been given trophies, even when they lose. And I'm Gen X, the fuck around and find out generation, apparently. That's what we've been labeled. That's not me. And it's just, my feelings don't get traipsed on that way. I don't care. But what I do care about is this huge wave of misinformation and hate going on in America today. And I'm hoping, again, in little increments, to just talk about stuff. Now, you may differ in what I say. You may agree in what I say. You may be like, that's not right at all. I welcome a conversation at any time, as long as it involves grace, manners, and facts. I will not discuss anything in emotions because emotions don't run a country or a world. Okay? So what has really just got under my skin recently is this insanity of people arguing over the Ukraine. And it's a lot of people literally dissing Americans. It's a lot of Americans dissing America, but waving flags from the Ukraine. Now, if you're a Ukrainian, and I have a friend who's Ukrainian, and we had a conversation about this before I'm having this podcast. So I feel like, although I did speak to one person who most recently has been back and forth in the Ukraine, born in the Ukraine, and has a home here, is an American citizen now, just recently. And so it is, it's interesting that both of us having this conversation, and they're just like, wow, like, they got a lot of people duped, my country. I'm like, yeah, right. It's crazy, my friends, how we jump on these bandwagons without actually knowing information. And before I did this email, because this podcast, I sent an email to my friend and I said, could we please have a conversation about this? Because I need to know whether or not I'm being hypersensitive because so many people are anti-American because they don't like Trump. And now they don't like Vance. And then people who loved Musk now don't love Musk. It's just like a bandwagon. And in all honesty, I don't do bandwagons. It's like a hockey team. They don't always win, but you can't hate on them on the days they're not winning because they're your team. You stick with them, wins and losses. And so I stuck with America over the last 4 years that I lost. So if you didn't vote for the current president, then you lost. Better luck in the next 4 years. That's kind of how it goes. But you can't enjoy the freedoms of America and then decide you're going to just decide that another country is this victim or is better. Because my friend suffered huge persecution in Ukraine, and as did his family. And there are some things I want to talk to you guys about that, okay? Because there's a bunch of stuff going around, people sending me like, oh, read this. What do you think about this? Read this. What do you think about this? And I'm like, it's a meme. Like, what do you mean? What do I think of this? It's a meme. It's something that somebody made in their basement at like 3:00 in the morning. What do you want me to comment on? Is it funny? Yeah, kinda. Both ways. I've been sent one from both sides. It is what it is. Okay. But one of the things that somebody sent was this like email. Okay. And I wanted to just go through and talk about this copy paste text that's going around social media right now. And so a lot of people were just like, well, that's just like, oh my God, I'm just blah, blah, blah. Okay, stop. Just relax. You know, everyone's really pissed off about how the context of discussion went between Trump, Vance, and Zelensky. Okay? And if you don't know who any of these people are, then this probably isn't the podcast for you. Just saying. Okay? But Zelensky was invited to the Oval Office. Okay? There was a preconceived notion, okay? It is a little precursor before this conversation ends. A lot of people are having issues with Elon Musk, okay? I get that. Let's just take Elon Musk out of the picture and insert a person you love of your choice. Okay, that person that you love of your choice is doing what Elon Musk and his team are. You don't like Elon Musk's team? Cool. Insert people of your choice and your liking. So now you have a leader who is not Elon Musk, but whoever you choose to do the advisory job he's doing with Doge. And then you also have your own team working it. Now let's say hypothetically, your team, because in reality, it's already been found, have discovered that billions of U.S. tax dollars, your tax dollars, my tax dollars, your Grandma Sally's tax dollars, Nona, Tia, all these old abuelita, everybody's tax dollars have been used not only in ill purpose, meaning it wasn't used for the benefit, and we've already talked about this in the past. U.S. tax dollars are to be used for the benefit and the good of U.S. citizens and soil, not from this dog going to drive me nuts every episode now. No, that's never. Oh, this dog. Anyway, yeah, now he's gonna like cry because the dog walked by and anyway, back to the seriousness of this. Sometimes I use humor to lighten the mood, as most people do, okay, because it's one of the few times that you can do is making fun of both sides. And I'm gonna do that here. Okay, in this conversation, that's going to happen. I'm literally laying in the middle because there are some things that happened, even though I'm now telling everybody I voted for Trump. There are some things that transpired I wasn't happy with, but what I get while they happen. I can concede to certain things that were done for the overall good of America. Now, going back to the Doge situation, if your leader, your appointed advisor, and your team under that advisor uncovered the billions of dollars of mismanaged tax dollars of yours and mine and everybody else's that you know that didn't benefit American citizens or soil. My confusion is people should be outraged. And not only that, but when you dig deeper into what those actual funds were used for, they're farce. When you have things set up the way they were set up, sending stuff here for this, that's not made up, people. These contracts are actually being they're not making it all up. Please, if you think that all of this is being made up, there is no benefit to making it all up. There is a reason why we are so incredibly in a national debt. And this is bringing light to some of it. Am I saying it just happened during the Biden administration? Absolutely not. I'm sure it goes way, way deep. And I'm going to guess that a lot of this happened during JFK. But I'm just saying there's a lot of stuff that came out for that as well. And people are all just like, whoa, 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 whoa. I wonder if aliens exist. Well, there are some government papers that came out about that too. This reality comes to play. And this is exactly why people just don't get inundated with a bunch of information at once, because it's like a mind meld and you can't handle it. I just find it hard to believe that anybody who worked for their entire life or at all in their life is not if not completely enraged, slightly agitated that our tax dollars went for such nonsense while Americans suffered. We have children that starve in this country, whose only meals are the garbage they feed them at school. Think about that. That's so distressing to me. And the fact that nobody will simply just listen. Everybody has to yell because they don't like somebody. Let's remove the faces of the players and just put smiley faces, okay? You don't see Biden, you don't see Harris, you don't see Trump, you don't see Vance, you don't see Musk. You just see smiley emojis. Look at the actions and the behaviors, okay? I don't want to hear about anybody's past. I don't care what Trump did in his own time, whatever. People, I played hockey. I can't even tell you the stuff we talked about in locker rooms or things I've heard, okay? They'd probably turn Trump red. I don't want to hear about any of that, okay? I don't want to hear about any of that. Because nobody here is so chaste, sorry. I'm always cool, but here I go again. Snort. Nobody here is so perfect that you're going to point fingers at people, especially public people. That's why I'm like, am I surprised that anybody, please stop and just look at the facts. So we're not looking at any of that now. We're just looking that there was this massive misuse and to the point of laundering. Okay. Now, you have no proof that they laundered money. Okay. Well, actually, Zelensky kind of gave into that a little bit when they were told that, and I'm making up a number, that $121 billion was sent to the Ukraine. And he thought he was doing everybody a favor by saying he only received 91 billion. Okay. Well, where's the remainder going? Well, let me explain to you people how that works. Okay. In case you don't know, it is how money laundering works. Okay. They make an agreement with him for 91 billion. At this point, anything over $1 million is just like chump change. So they're just making up money. It's like playing with monopoly money, except that monopoly money is our tax dollars. It's our tax dollars. So if you knew, or anyone who suffered in the last 8 years, okay, 10 years, this is a snowball effect of all of the things. It's just the only difference that happened in the last 4 years during the Biden administration is they got greedy and cocky because they felt safe. And I don't mean it because of just Democrats. I mean, everyone in our government got cocky because they were lining their pockets substantially at our cost as Americans to fuel their power and their greed. And the fact that we fight over that as Americans because we dislike or like someone based on the propaganda media. Oh, Denise, you can't be that person. They're literally paper trails of all of the media that has been talking about all of the things on both sides to get us to fight. And it has worked 100%. They paid the government, our media, to lie to you and I so that they could rope in some believers to continually to get us to fight on the ground. Because they're nowhere near the ground, my friends. They are all floating up in the cash clouds. And if you don't believe that, Nancy Pelosi makes $203,000 a year in her job. Mr. Sith makes way more than that. But yet she has over 100 million in assets. Yeah, we don't have that. What's the difference? Well, we're having to invest in a market that they play with every day, and they're investing in cold cash that they're laundering every day. See how that works? You can't have people, especially, and I'll never really understood this, is so many Democrats, high-end official Democrats, will beg and all of the people who follow them, because I'm not going to say you're a Democrat, you could not be. You could just be someone who just truly believes in a humanitarian cause, and that's totally okay. But just not their cause, because they don't care about anything but themselves. They don't. And everyone's like, well, Denise, you would say the same about Trump. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to him, okay? Because there are some things that I think that people misunderstand or might have just a twist on Trump. Let's just put it that way. A little twist on Trump. So one of the things, I'll wrap this up and then we'll go in and do like a quick break. And then I'll come back and we'll talk about the Ukrainian deal here. But if we just understood that they're stealing our money, because they are, and that we want to clean all this out and support that, then we're on a whole, we're like solid together. But I'm seeing that more and more people are coming out. I'm not interested. If you're from another country and you're going to talk to me about as an American, it's not the same, because we are the only country afforded with freedoms that no other country in this earth has, period. And I am a huge traveler. I love immersing myself in other cultures. But right now, speaking of culture, I fear for European culture. I fear for British culture or English culture. I have British friends who are touting all this stuff anti-Trump, and I'm thinking, have you looked at what's going on in your country? It's literally, British people are being put in jail protecting their British pride over people who are coming in from the outside that they invited them in as a safety are getting more privilege. Crime has gone up in almost every, especially in the UK. And it's just, It's a poop show. It's a poop show. And there's a lot of distraction, watch here while my hand over here is doing this. And there has to come a time where these extremely inclusive, I hate to use the word woke, but that's how people understand what you're saying when you say that. These woke attitudes and cultures and inclusions are for a very small minority that a larger minority took advantage of. I don't know if that's even getting through. So let's take a little break, trying to really piece around this so that I'm kind and I'm being, very, I want it to be educational and I don't want to be name calling and all of this stuff, but we'll talk more after the little break here.
Hello, I'm Peter Sith, and I'm here to tell you about something you have to have for your kids. My new book, Popcorn World. Peek inside my creative brain and meet Dylan, an ordinary kid who accidentally finds a portal to his new world in his basement while looking for his lost soccer ball. Your kids will totally be able to relate to Dylan and all his emotions, trials, and big act of kindness in my story. I worked on creating this book over the summer with my awesome tutor, Dr. Peterson. She helped me guide me through the parts of my book, and boom, Popcorn World was created. Another cool fact, my mom does all the drawings. Trust me, these pictures and the story are super cool, but you can find out yourself by picking up a copy on Amazon, and it's available worldwide. So even if my family and friends in Slovakia, Canada, Scotland, and Italy can get a copy of Popcorn World. Don't forget the name, Popcorn World. Available on Amazon now! Let's make reading cool.
Okay, so we're back. Okay, let's get back to the Zelensky. That was I was trying to do some background, but honestly, my friends, there is so much going on right now. There's so much to grasp that I can't possibly do it all in one episode. So a lot of it's going to sound like it just drops off because it's literally an entire 1-2 episodes all by itself. And I don't want to turn this into a political podcast, but it's just this particular thing. This whole Zelensky thing really got me because I know people there. It just was because a lot of times American people are super condescending, because I can bet you $1 million I know about 3 people online that if my friend who is Ukrainian, lived in Ukraine and suffered injustices from Ukraine, had conversations with my American friends, I can name 3 of them, my American friends would basically condescend him, the Ukrainian, that he didn't know what he was talking about, even though none of those people had been to Ukraine. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what has to stop. We have this desire to, am I right about all this stuff? No, this is just my opinion. This is my opinion, but I'm also, these things that I'm basing my opinion on are from fact. So I'm just stating fact. You can look it up. You can Google it. You can look on the Gov sites. They're all there. Everything we're going to discuss in the second half. Okay. So a lot of people had issues and a lot of emotions going on about this Zelensky-Trump-Vance meeting. Now, understand that there is one reason why Zelensky came here, in addition to the fact that his money got cut off. Okay. Which, thank God. Okay, thank God. Now, let me tell you why. We're going to go through, because you're like, Denise, you're already being opinionated. Settle down. I settle down, okay? We're going to talk why that is a good thing, okay? Because there's a lot of things that I'm not seeing brought up And because people are just not liking Trump. So bad Trump, bad orange man. And they're not understanding the politics behind the power moves going on. And Zelensky is the one that asked for this to happen in a public setting because he already calculated a move. If you don't think he did, that's why you're not in politics. Okay? That's why we're not in politics. Because I know that if I was in politics and I was in the law area, I was in social sciences, I did all constitutional law. This was my big thing in all my college stuff. Okay? And I would go in with a plan. If you don't have a plan going in, you're going to lose. You don't meet with people and leaders from other countries, let alone the free country of the nation of the world, and not come in with a plan. Zelensky's plan is trying to gain access to NATO. If you don't know what NATO is, please Google it. You must know what NATO is. If you're over the age of 21 and you do not know what NATO is or what it does, you must Google it and educate yourself so that you know, because it's important, okay? Here's one of the things. If Ukraine, this is the bottom line, okay? There's more involved in this, but the bottom line is Zelensky wants Ukraine in NATO. If Ukraine joins NATO, the U.S. would be bound by the NATO Collective Defense Agreement, okay? Which is, the agreement means an attack on one is an attack on all, okay? That's the Collective Defense Agreement. Now, I want you to consider the big implications behind that, okay? Ukraine and Russia despise each other, okay? That's pretty much like, duh, everybody knows that, right? If Ukraine were to be a NATO member, any future disagreement between Russia and Ukraine would obligate the United States to enter into a direct conflict with Russia. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be in a direct conflict with Russia. Okay? But nobody wants that. If you do, I don't know what to tell you. I do not know what to tell you. But that could potentially mean a World War III. All right? And if a World War III would to come happenstance, China would have to choose a side. And I could tell you, my friends, that they would most certainly side with Russia. Okay? So what happened during that whole Zelensky-Trump-Vance meeting was a setup. Okay? Now, Trump and Vance kind of knew that ahead of time, and that the only way to achieve any kind of peace was to strategically align. I mean, duh, that's like basically the whole point of any government role, right? To achieve peace by strategically aligning, okay? At least on the surface, with Russia. Okay? Now, I know it's hard to explain. Like, wait, Denise, we thought you were going to say Ukraine. No. Why? Okay? Strategically, at the surface, strategically align with Russia. Because Russia would never sign a peace treaty if Ukraine was admitted into NATO. Sit on that for a little bit. Okay? So I'm going to, before we talk about what they discussed and whatnot, we're going to talk about a little facts. You can find these online. That's where I find them on. Please go to a government site. Okay? These are directly from the UK government site. Okay? We refused money at that meeting. Okay? We said, nope. Trump said he didn't feel comfortable. That's it. You know, he's having some problems with diplomacy, blah, 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 you know, whatever. But then immediately Zelensky went to UK, sat down with them. Right now, their Labour Party, which is pretty much like the Biden party, decided that they were going to give them an agreement that delivered 2.26 billion pounds in funding to Ukraine, which apparently is supposed to be paid back using profits generated on sanctioned Russian sovereign assets held in the EU. Okay? This is never going to get paid back. And just so you know, that's just hogwash. It is what it is. Okay? Now, why? Everyone's like, wait, somebody told me in an online discussion that Ukraine was already part of NATO. And I'm like, well, that's absolutely not true, but okay. Ukraine contributes to a lot of things. Okay. So they're an agricultural producer. They are a source of critical minerals, and they're a partner in NATO. So they are not a NATO affiliate. They are a partner in NATO. Okay. Let me tell you agriculturally what Ukraine provides us with. Okay. Not with us, but as a world exporter. Okay. They are the top producer of grain, potatoes, sugar beets, and sunflower oil. Do we see this in America? No, I don't believe so. This is going to be directly an issue with EU, UK. This is European sourcing. Okay. Do I say we not see any of that? No, but we have producers here in America that do that, in South America, where we would get most of our production from there. Okay. In 2021, Ukraine was the second largest exporter of grain in the world. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you just buy flour at the store, that's great. Or grains. I buy specific ancient grains, so this does not affect me. But I'm just saying, it depends on what kind of grain you buy. But they were a second largest exporter of grain in the world. Also in 2021, Ukrainians' grain fed over 400 million people worldwide. That's awesome. Minerals. They have significant deposits of minerals, okay? They have graphite, titanium, lithium, beryllium, uranium, copper, lead, zinc, silver, nickel, cobalt, and manganese. So they are like a mineral, smorgasbord. They have rare earth metals, which are used to make electronics, wind turbines, and weapons. And weapons. And weapons. Okay? Don't even get to me on the wind turbines. They're just a nightmare in itself. They also have the largest reserves of lithium, titanium, and uranium in Europe. So they can position themselves as a key partner in NATO because they have these resources available. Okay. They have participated in NATO initiatives to implement the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace, and security. I don't know what that is. These are off the NATO website. Okay. They also have built capacity in interoperability through participation in the NATO response force. And they have enhanced opportunity partner status with NATO. So they aren't just partners anymore. They have the upgraded partner status, which is EOP, Enhanced Opportunity Partner. But they are not a member or affiliate of NATO. Okay? Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. What else is going on here? Okay. That's pretty much all we need for that. So that is what Ukraine contributes, what they are resourced for. Now, although I'm going to sit this to you, although cooperating with NATO, Ukraine has remained a neutral country. After it was attacked by Russia in 2014, Ukraine has increasingly sought NATO membership. Now, that is the winning comment right there. Now, what did I just talk about, right? Okay. They've always remained neutral until they were attacked by Russia in 2014. Then, all of a sudden, they're increasingly seeking for NATO membership. And it is exactly for the reason that I just stated, okay? Because of the pact, all right? So the NATO's collective defense agreement clearly states that in the situation where they got attacked. The one attack, an attack on one is an attack on all. And that would mean that United States would have to get in. I guarantee you right now, what other country has the military resources? And if you're from France or Italy, Lord knows I love Italy, okay? Everyone wants our military support. Everybody wants our money, okay? The thing with Americans is we have been providing so much to other countries that we have depleted our own. And sometimes you just have to stick for your own and then gently put your toe in the pool to get things going again. And that's what Trump is doing now. He's cutting all of the external resourcing off so that we could just concentrate on internal. How did that turn into a fuckery? When Doge found out there was so much basically crime and misuse within as well. Now, as there's lots of stuff. Oh, they're cutting off this, they're cutting off that. No, they're not. There's somebody who was like, oh, they will wait till nobody gets Medicaid anymore. Okay, Medicaid in this country and Medicare are two of the most corrupt and misused programs in existence. And let me tell you why. And I feel bad if my mom listens to this, but I'm not embarrassed to say it because it literally sickens my stomach. But we are providing thousands of dollars in food aid per month to people who are not even citizens of America. My parents are elderly. They're in their late 70s and 80s. And they need food assistance because their medical bills cost so much, they run out of cash on their limited income. Okay? Their food assistance was $76 a month. $76. I spent more trying to buy a salad, putting salad together the other day at the store. And that has been decreased to like under $30. That is a problem. Because if we're not taking care of our handicap or our disabled or our veterans or our elderly and our seniors, and we're just taking care of random people, and I'm sorry, but if you have like 4 kids, I'm not sorry for this statement. If you have 4 kids from 4 different baby daddies, or from the same baby daddy, and he's just a loser, and you can't make it from day to day, get a job. It's amazing how much a job can do. You actually have to get up, though, and leave your house. Well, sometimes maybe you can get a remote job after COVID and get those benefits so you don't need that. It's just insane. And everyone's like, oh, well, Denise, easy for you to say. Mr. Sith is the one that makes all the money. I make money through my podcast, but it's for me. I'm in a marriage. We made a decision that I would work from home and take care of Peter. And then we made the decision I didn't need to work at all, except for one of the projects that I needed. It's for each individual family needs to decide what's best for them. There's some people who don't even want to homeschool. There are some people who would love to homeschool, but they can't because they need their incomes. And that's okay too. But we can't keep depleting these systems and pilfering them and taking away from people who need them. And then you're going to take, you have people who take one political point or one issue and they apply it to the whole system. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So going back to the Zelensky, he came in and thought he would make a bold move on television. It's simple as that. I'll be honest with you. I don't care that he wore a tracksuit. I don't really understood why he would meet with the leader of the free nation and of any nation and wear a tracksuit. But apparently that's what he does. I don't know. But it was, I don't know. I just feel like if we've given you $91 billion in our tax dollars, you should at least be able to dress nice. I mean, he used it for lots of personal things as well. If you're not sure, maybe you should look at all the Ukrainian news and they'll tell you exactly what they use it for. Because they are well aware of the misuse of him. He also canceled their elections, but he believes in free speech. Okay. They also have had so many of their poor men and boys in their country who have died in this useless war that they're in with Russia, that they're literally kidnapping them off the streets now. And that's not for me, just me. That is for my friends from Ukraine as well. That is an active thing. You do not let your boys go just alone right now in Ukraine. Now, the deal with this is Zelensky got a little smart right away. And I'll be honest with you guys, it's kind of a double-edged sword for me. I appreciate the stance that Trump and Vance took on Zelensky coming out and basically, let's be honest, throwing his dick on the table when he really didn't even have a table. But I don't agree with how they spoke. Not in that their tone or whatever, because honestly, this is what we saw on camera is what happens and worse without the cameras behind doors every day in politics, in governments. This is how our leaders talk, but it gets worse. And you can see that Zelensky got a little embarrassed at the end. And if people are going to say, no, that's not true, Denise. Well, actually, that is true because he backpedaled a little here. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. So he didn't really have any choice at that point when they started coming at him than to back down. Okay. But I will tell you that they knew it was going to happen. They couldn't have not. You have advisory councils. They knew he was here and they were going to try to do that. That's why he asked for a public forum. They kind of had it. You know, they made mince words. They did whatever, okay. But here's the thing. There is a genius part to this. Trump is actually protecting the Ukraine without dragging the U.S. into a war. Now, I want you to think about that because nobody wants to be at war. Nobody, except for our seniors at this point and whoever's left from Nam, bless their souls for all the things that they got from the stuff that was sprayed on them when they were in Nam. All our poor Afghanistan and Iraqi vets right now. Okay, think about this, okay? We don't want a World War III because in all honesty, I think we would be able to handle it, but I don't think our people could handle it. Like there are some Americans right now in a frame of mind, they could not sustain themselves through a war. They just mentally are not set for that. And that scares me. Like, well, shit, like what's going to happen to all my friends who are completely like unhinged? I want to be there for them, but at the same time, like they only want to talk in their emotions. And I'm like, but I want to tell you this fact and see if that'll help you, bring you in a little bit. And I want to give you a hug and they just don't want to see it. It's just bad man Trump. I don't like Elon. It's just insane. I can't live like that every day. And I pray for everybody who actually feels that way because I want them to find peace by knowing these things. So what happened is without dragging us into a war, the U.S., when Trump tried to negotiate that mineral deal, okay, so that ensures that Americans will be involved in these Ukrainian mining industry, okay? This will prevent Russia from launching an invasion because attacking the Ukraine would mean endangering American lives, okay? Something that would force the U.S. to respond. Putin doesn't want a war with America. He doesn't. And right now, the two leaders get along. Hey, Putin respects Trump. Trump respects Putin. That's fine. Listen, he's the leader of the country. Unless you live there, you can't say anything. I love when people are just like, well, if I was in Russia, you'd be dead. If you were in Russia, you'd be dead. Don't even get me started on the whole Israel and Palestine thing. Half of the people who are complaining and crying about that, would go and literally you would die in that country. You would die because they would kill you. But nobody wants to learn about it. We're just looking at the grass, but we're not looking at the nutrient and the substance and the dirt underneath it. It goes deep all the way to the earth's core. But yet we want to base all of our emotions and words and slangs and we're throwing shit at each other based on just what's at the topic, this topical side of the grass and not the full story down to the core. And even when I don't know the full story, sometimes people will say stuff and I'm like, you know what? No, let me look into that. Not sure. I got to dig a little deeper before I can answer that. Okay. But in this particular situation, Trump played both sides. He had to do what he had to do. In the end, Zelensky is going to have no choice but to concede. And he did. So I know there are people still out on social media, ravaging keyboard warriors, slaying their hearts out, pro-Zelensky, Ukrainian flags. No, please stop. The people in Ukraine are embarrassed for you. That's what my friend said. And I quote, I am embarrassed for the people who do this. That's his quote, not mine. But Ukraine cannot win a prolonged war against Russia. Okay? That's why they need our support. He got the money he did that we wouldn't give him, okay, from the UK. He'll get some money from us with a mineral agreement. He's already went on X or Twitter, whatever the hell it's called right now. I don't do that platform. And apologized and said, thank you. All the things he should have just showed up and done in front of a camera, he said on X. So we still have Americans like crybabying and bawling about all this stuff that happened to Zelensky. And it's like, okay, he's a leader. He's literally a dictator leader from another country who's just putting money in his pockets, just like every other government. Our government's cutting him off because they're misusing the funds, and we can't get pulled into a war. We are the funder of weapons and money and military equipment, and it's like we're basically used and abused by everyone. Everyone expects America to pay more for this and more for that because we're the big old no, we are a mess. We are that influencer with a ton of filters on. And as soon as the camera goes off, we are in a trailer and we have bags under our eyes. And when I thought about that, I totally immediately had a vision of like the Statue of Liberty just looking like shit with a cigarette in her mouth. I'm so sorry. It's not how I wanted to end this, but maybe I needed to end it this way. We are taking the filter off and we're trying to do a spa day for Lady Liberty, okay, folks? And we need to come together as Americans. I'm so sorry. Because now I got the giggles over it. We need to come together as Americans and just know that we're not always going to win. And the one thing we can do is all during the Biden administration, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was super duper uber unhappy under the Biden administration, and not unhappy with me personally, okay, but unhappy with where America was going. And it was concerning to me. And I thought, well, there's nothing I can do about it. You can get really caught up in it and do whatever, but he's the president. They're going to do what they can. All I can do is go on voting day, vote to try to switch it back or do whatever. And that's kind of like politics, isn't it? But yet we fight amongst ourselves down like all of the minions. We're all the minions, and all the Grus are up here like just laughing at us. But yet we're fighting amongst ourselves, and we need to act more like actual cartoon minions and just always have a party. We always need to have a banana. We need to just lost it completely, my friends. We need to come together and just have a good time as Americans and be proud of our country. We cannot just constantly be concerned about other countries and not put ourselves first. Because what do we even say about ourselves? If you have a mom and she is ragged, smoking a cigarette and eating chocolates in her closet, and put her torch down for a hot second, crying because she just looks like poop and hasn't slept in 3 days and she's just ragged for the wear. Are you going to tell her like, oh, just buck up. I could help you, but I'm going to send this money to Ukraine or to the UK or to the EU or to Africa. I don't know, pick a country. Okay. Canada. Or are you going to look at your friend and be like, girl, give me that torch. Give me that cigarette because it ain't good for you. Toss that shit out. Here's a healthy drink instead and a piece of chocolate. Here's dark chocolate. I took your Reese's. I threw it in the garbage because that's going to have better endorphins for you. And you crying here, I'm going to go watch your kids and start dinner for you. Take care of yourself. You need to go away for a weekend. You need to take some time for yourself. We would never be like the opposite. And if you are, what the hell kind of friend are you? That's how we have to look at America right now. Lady Liberty is tore the hell up, okay? And she needs a weekend away. And that weekend is going to be 4 years. You got to put it in perspective, okay? And we need to just stop fighting over ridiculous things and just start thinking like Americans. Nobody I know, no matter what side you're on, can tell me that you don't want kids to be fed in America, that you don't want vets to have coverage and mental health, that you don't want seniors to have proper benefits if they're not making it, healthcare and their medicines. You can't tell me that you want kids to eat at home. You can't tell me you want Americans to have homes and jobs. But these are things that we've put to the side to fight about these superficial things that should be kept in somebody's backyard. It's not a worldly forum, it's a backyard forum. And as a result of taking these backyard forums and putting them into the world forum, we're destroying the foundation of our country. And that's all I got for you for today. Everybody, until next Wednesday, lead with kindness and lead on God. Bye.